welcome to my channel. So Black Mirror, it's one of my favorite shows on Netflix. I've watched all seasons multiple times and I have been waiting so long for a new season to arrive, and it's here. And I can't believe it's been 4 years since we got a new season. You know, Black Mirror is a show that goes from dystopian worlds to sci-fi to real life technology to even horror. But did it lose its spark? Let's talk about it. Black Mirror always made me feel all sorts of emotions, but the best episodes made me feel uneased and shocked. I've always enjoyed the provoking take on technology and its effect on humanity, but this season to me was very predictable. Something that Black Mirror never was, because there was always amazing twists. Charlie Brooker, he's the creator of the show and he writes every single episode. But in this season, there's one episode, which is the last one, Demon 79, that he co-wrote with Bisha, what was her name? Bisha Ali. And I looked her up. Apparently she wrote Miss Marvel and also Loki. So she's like a Marvel, person. And then when I was looking her up, it said she was a British comedian. And it made sense because Demon 79 was actually kind of funny. By the way, you can watch the episodes in any order you like, but there are Easter eggs in some episodes referring to other episodes. So I don't know, I recommend watching them in the order that Netflix gave them to you. Let's start with the first episode, Joan. It's awful. And it's the only episode of the season that feels like a solid Black Mirror episode because it's so on brand. How technology can be dangerous, and is a cautionary tale about terms and conditions. Remember, whatever you sign up for, whatever you're playing on your phone, and then at the end, remember, like you see in the bottom, it says agree to this, agree, or agree to all. And we're always like, agree to all. And if you stop and read the terms and conditions, it's pages and pages. There's this lawyer on YouTube and she helps people with like contracts and read the fine print. She actually printed out the terms and conditions of a website, and it was like, Joan is awful. Remember when Joan, it's if you're watching this, you've seen all the episodes, so there's no spoilers here. She goes to her lawyer saying that I didn't agree to all of this, and then the lawyer's like, yes you did, and drops like this thick pile of paper with the terms and conditions for Streamberry, which is the Netflix of the show. They call themselves Streamberry. So she's like, yeah, you agree to the terms and conditions. And then this lawyer on YouTube, she actually print out the terms and conditions of this particular website, and it was that thick. So I think after watching this episode, a lot of people are going to start reading terms and conditions. This episode made me think a lot about data privacy and the fact that they are always listening. The tech gods out there. I remember one time that I was talking to a friend about like dog food, and my phone was not off, but it was just sitting there. It wasn't like I was speaking to the phone or anything. It was just right there. And after I had this conversation about dog food, all the ads that I was seeing on my either socials or emails were about dog food. So it's no surprise that they're listening. When the episode started, I thought Netflix was going to mess with us because remember Bandersnatcher, which I thought was like groundbreaking TV. It was very interactive. So when Joan, played by Annie Murphy, when Streamberry has a show about her life and she's in it, I was like, oh no, like Netflix, it's about to put my face or whatever, whoever is logged in into the account, it's going to be our faces. They're going to use that AI, technology to put our faces on the show with our name, like Denise is awesome. I totally thought Netflix was going to do that, with every single person that was watching. That would have been like mind-blowing and kind of cool and kind of scary. Speaking of AI, the episode addresses a lot of that, and also consent, because Salma Hayek, who's playing Joan, who's being played by Annie Murphy, in the show, she goes to her lawyer, Salma Hayek, and saying, she's like, I didn't agree to take a crap in a church. And he's like, well, you sold the rights to your voice, to your face, blah, blah. There's an actor that just so, because nowadays we all have to think about that, like on our wills. Like, there's so much footage of us, on camera, on Instagram Reels, our voices, that we're gonna have to start writing our will saying like what can be used and what cannot be used. And I can't remember the actor, but he sold the rights to his face and his voice for like millions of dollars. And he's like, use it to whatever. I'm gonna be dead anyway. And then maybe think about when the whole years ago, they wanted Whitney Houston hologram to do tours, and then some people are like, would she want to do that? Like, what, like, she never put it down on paper that she allowed that. It's so funny because I was just posting a reel on my Instagram a couple days ago, and I've never seen this, but on the bottom it said, oh, like users can download your reel for mixes or something. If you want to change this to not allow people to download your reel, go to privacy settings. And I was like, what? That's the first time I saw that little note on the bottom. And as a content creator, you want people to share your content because that's how you get more views. One person shares with their family, their cousin, their friends. It's like a web, and then it spreads around and everybody sees it. But to download and mix it, so I went on the private settings and I sat there for a couple minutes and was like, do I want people to download my reels? And then mix it up and use, because people can do whatever they want after they download it. They can edit word by word, make you say something that you didn't, use your face for whatever. And I was like, nope, don't want that. No. This episode was very meta. There's a cameo, an appearance by Michael Cera, and he's the tech guy behind, Streamberry, and he's explaining to Annie Murphy and Salma Hayek the Joan is Awful show, and it's like layer, it was like a glass onion, it was like layer over layer over layer. He was like, you're not Joan, you're Annie Murphy. And then he shows Annie Murphy on the screen, so he's like, remember Schitt's Creek? Great show, Emmy Award winning. Yeah, you're not Joan, you Annie Murphy playing Joan. And then Salma Hayek, it's Salma Hayek playing Annie Murphy, who's playing Joan. So he was trying to explain. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a headache. It reminded me a lot of Inception. Remember, Inception's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like a dream within a dream within a dream. Also, the next actress playing like Salma Hayek as Joan was Cate Blanchett. And I was like, Cate Blanchett's gonna make an appearance. She didn't. Second episode was called Loch Henry. It's based in Scotland, this cute little town in Scotland. At first I thought it was Ireland because their accents, it was like, is this an Irish accent or Scottish accent? But I think it's in Scotland. Beautiful scenery. So this young filmmaker and his girlfriend Pia, they go back to his hometown. It's a little ghost town because there's some murders that happened there. So the town just became, it killed the tourism of the town. But they're there to do a documentary about some guy collecting eggs or something. But after they hear from his mom about the murders that took place, they're like, oh, this is a more interesting subject for the documentary. And I think like this episode was made to criticize the whole true crime documentary, culture that we live on. Like, there's so much true crime content out there, from like movies, documentaries, TV shows. Like, just look at Netflix. Sometimes like you flip through, the content that they have. It's all true crime stories, from Jeff Dahmer, Waco, Ted Bundy. There's like 2 TV shows, 3 documentaries. Same thing with Waco. There's like 2 shows, there's like movies. And it makes you question who's benefiting from all of this. not the victims, not the victims' families, because they have to relive through all that trauma again. Remember, like Ryan Murphy was getting flack because he apparently didn't even write a letter or gave the victim's family a call about Monster, you know, the Jeff Dahmer story. So Lock Henry is interesting that the filmmaker, Davis, the boy, he becomes the subject of the story because, you know, at the end you find out that his family, his parents were the ones involved with the torturing and the murders, and he still goes on in making the documentary and wins a BAFTA. And he's, you know, at the end you see him, he's all like depressed. He basically lost his whole family, his girlfriend. When I talked about the season being predictable, Lock Henry, I knew that the mom had something to do with the killings. As soon as like that actor's the mom and they're eating at the table and she's, you know, talking, like you got the sense that's like something is up with this woman. Like she has something, she's hiding something. So the ending, it wasn't that big of a twist for me. It wasn't a surprise. So for this episode to be about true crime, I think that Netflix was either being cheeky and taking a dig at themselves or very self-aware. Third episode, we have Beyond the Sea, starring Josh Hartner. Anyway, you know, Aaron Paul, Kate Mara, and it was the longest episode of them all. It was about an hour and 20 minutes. It could have been shorter. It could have been like 15 minutes. It's funny because now that I edit videos, I looked at some things when I'm watching. It's like, this could have been edited, this couldn't be cut off. Okay. It ran a bit too long for me. And even for an episode that long, it didn't have that much character development. The concept was great. Two astronauts, they're doing a mission up in space, and they have this avatars / robots that then they can come back down to Earth and spend time with their families. But once again, I called it most of the things that happened in this episode. I knew after Josh's family, like his wife and his 2 kids, they get murdered by like some cult. And I knew that when he asked to go down back to Earth to, you know, breathe fresh air and paint, I knew he was going to either like sleep with Aaron Paul's wife or make a connection with the kid. He basically would want to like steal his family, or that he would like murder Aaron Paul up there in space, come back down to Earth and never come back. Say that, oh, he died in an accident up in the sky. Or I thought that Josh Hartner would kill Aaron Paul up there, come back, pretend to be Kate Mara's husband, like pretend to be Aaron Paul, and then once they slept together, he would do like something sexually, and she'd be like, you didn't used to do that, or how did you learn to do that? And then she would caught on and kill him. So the ending, the fact that Hartner killed Aaron Paul's family, the wife and the boy, that wasn't expecting. So I appreciate the ending. And I still want to see one of those videos that like, oh, ending explained. What was like philosophical about that? Because someone was telling me that they say, oh, misery loves company. So the fact that Josh Hartner lost his family, he's like, okay, if I can't have yours or mine, then you're not going to have a family either. I did not like one thing about this episode was that they used that Charles Manson cult like to kill his family. I think they should have like find a different way for his family to die so he can go and grieve. Also, why do civilians know about the avatars / robots? Shouldn't all that information be classified? And by the way, where is HR or a superior? Like, you lose your whole family and you can't take a leave of absence or quit your job? Next episode, we have Maisie Day. It's about the title character. She's a young celebrity. She's an actress who's having meltdowns on sets, and she's abusing drugs. So of course the paparazzi smell blood and any picture of Maisie will sell for thousands of dollars. So she's being hounded by paparazzi. And this episode is based on the 2000s. You can catch that because at the beginning, there's Bo, our main paparazzi. She's listening to the radio in her car, and the news is talking about that Suri Cruise, the daughter of Tom Cruise. She was born, I think, 2006. So this is the 2000s. So it's about the whole paparazzi culture, which will make you think of Britney Spears, Paris Hilton. So Bo, our main character, our main paparazzi, she quits being a paparazzi because the last photo that she took was from an actor that was having an affair with a man, but he wasn't outed yet. He didn't come out yet. He had a wife. So after she sells the photos to a publication and they post it, he kills himself. So she feels guilty about it. I thought the climax of Maisie being a werewolf, she has a hit and run. You think she hit someone, but apparently she hit a wolf. Wolf bit her and she becomes a werewolf. I thought that ending was such a letdown. It was silly, and it was probably the worst episode of all seasons. But thankfully, it was only a 40-minute episode. I didn't like that it went on the supernatural route. The one thing that I liked about this episode was the take on the paparazzi culture and how invasive it is, and it's actually like borderline illegal. When Maisie, it's like chained up. She has a chain around her neck and she's chained up to the floor. These assholes, the first thing that they do, it's like, snap the shot, snap, 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 snap. Like no one besides Bo, no one's trying to help her. And they're only thinking about money. And it made me think about Kobe Bryant. Remember at the scene of his crash that the cops were like taking pictures and then showing off at bars. And also there's like incidents that celebrities get into car crashes. And then like none of the paparazzi will call 911. They will like prefer to take photos before trying to help the person in the crash. It's insane. Last episode was Demon 79 because it's set on 1979. And I wrote down their names because I will butcher, but I don't want to butcher because they're so great. Papa Esidu, he was so wonderful and charismatic as the devil or one of the Satan's helpers. He was tormenting Nina, what's her name, who's played by Anjana Vasan. She's actually really funny for playing such a character like in a dark role, and we are actually rooting for her, which reminds me of one of the episodes of past seasons of Black Mirror, Shut Up and Dance, where you're rooting for someone that's doing awful things. This episode is filled with racism undertones. Not even undertones, because they're like, the people that are being racist on this episode, they're like blatantly racist. Hence us rooting for Nina because, these people had it coming. I really enjoyed the chemistry between our two main leads, Nina and the devil. Like even when they're doing like the killings, they have this little back and forth conversations that was really funny. One thing that if you notice, because at the end, I knew that was going to happen too. I knew that the apocalypse will come because that politician, what's the politician? He was reading like a newspaper and it says that Russia would not back down. And I knew it when she was in jail already being questioned by the police. I was like, this is going to have Russia, it's going to attack and cause the apocalypse. I think this season lacked originality, but I do appreciate that Netflix is not pressuring Charlie Brooker to pump out seasons, and they allow him to even experiment with things like Bandersnatcher. Once again, groundbreaking for me. I felt like past seasons left us with more moral dilemmas than season 6. And who knows, maybe the world has gotten so crazy that not even Charlie Brooker can keep up with it. So these were my thoughts on the episodes of season 6 of Black Mirror streaming out on Netflix. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. What was your favorite episode of this season and your least favorite episode? And if you have any shout outs for past episodes, from past seasons, let me know, because I think tonight I'm gonna rewatch some of my favorites. White Christmas with John Hamm, that was a really, really good one. Hang the DJ. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell notification button so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you next time.